Everyone is waiting and hoping for mortgage rates to come down, but they're not moving much. And the new Federal Reserve Chair, essentially the person whose job it is to steer our economy in the right direction, at his most recent meeting decided to hold the federal funds rate right where it is, all while inventory is vanishing and affordability stays brutal for us here in San Diego. We are currently in some odd economic times, to say the least. And what makes it even more interesting is that more buyers went under contract this past June than a year ago. And the detached median price broke a ceiling it hasn't cracked in the last 12 months. These are the signs of a market that is not falling apart. It's a market getting tighter, and the most recent data shows you exactly why. All this and more covered in this week's San Diego Market Matters, and I'm Karl, your San Diego realtor. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel yet, here's your opportunity to do it now, or you can wait until the end. That's fine as well. Either way, I appreciate you being here and watching. Now, let's jump into the most recent data. Let's start with new listings because this is where the whole story in June really begins. New listings are every home that came to the market in the month, every fresh listing that hit the MLS county-wide. And what we saw in June tells you where the pressure in this market is really coming from. In June, detached new listings came in at 1,789, down 17.8% year over year. Attached listings, your condos and townhomes, came in at 1,286, down 7.8%. So both sides of the market gave us fewer homes than a year ago. But here's the part that matters. On the detached side, this isn't a 1 month blip. June marks negative growth in 10 of the last 12 months. Sellers of single family homes have been sitting on their hands for almost a year now. The attached side is where the shift is fresh. For the last 12 months, condo and townhome listings were positive year over year. We watched that growth rate fade month after month, a slow descent from double digits down to towards zero. And in June, for the first time, it finally tipped negative. That's a new development and it's worth watching. Now, layer in the macro backdrop. June brought the new Fed chair's first meeting, and they did what the Fed has been doing for a while now. They held the federal funds rate right where it was. The market expected that hold, so the bond market barely flinched. Mortgage rates opened June and closed June in roughly the same place, small wiggles in between, but pretty much flat overall. And that's the mechanism behind these listing numbers. Rates aren't dropping, so homeowners sitting on 3% or 4% loans have no reason to trade it for something in the sixes. When rates don't move, supply stays locked up. Fewer sellers listing means fewer options for you as a buyer, and it sets up everything we're about to cover.
Let's hear it.
While new listings tell us what's being added to the market, active inventory tells us what's on the shelf right now. It's the total number of homes available to buy at the end of the month, including everything that carried over from the month before. And this is the number that defines June. Detached active inventory dropped to 3,047 homes, down 26.1% year over year. That's a massive contraction, and it's not sudden. Detached inventory has been shrinking for 6 months straight, and the rate of decline is speeding up. It's not slowing down. It went from 7% back in January down to 26% in June. And the attached market is following the same path, one step behind. Condo and townhome inventory finished June at 2,830 homes, up a razor thin 0.5% year over year. Since December, that growth rate has been falling every single month though. Attached inventory was climbing nearly 30% a year ago. Now it's hanging on to a positive by a thread. Here's what jumps out to me. Detached and attached inventory are almost even, 3,047 homes versus 2,830. In San Diego, detached inventory usually dwarfs attached. When that gap closes like this, it tells you the supply squeeze isn't isolated to one corner of the market or the other. It's everywhere. Buyers have no way to dodge it by switching categories. Now let's put a clock on it with months of supply. Months of supply tells us how long it would take to sell every home on the market if nothing new came in and sales kept the current pace. In June, detached sat at 2.4 months, down 29% year over year. Attached sat at 4 months, down 5%. A balanced market is going to be 4 to 6 months. Below 4 is a seller's market, below 2 is a tight seller's market. So the detached side at 2.4 is firmly a seller's market, and it's tightening fast. Attached at 4% is the most balanced part of this whole picture, which is why condo buyers have a little more room to play with. Now, I'll be straight with you. It's getting harder and harder to find homes for buyers right now, and this data is telling us exactly why. If you're hunting for something specific, the smartest thing for you to do is to stay patient and stay ready. Get fully approved, not just a pre-approval, and partner with a strong lender so your approval is done and waiting. Then lean on your agent to dig up off-market options, cast a wide net, and wait for the right property to show up itself. In this inventory, finding the perfect detached listing is a lot like finding a parking spot in La Jolla Cove on a Saturday afternoon in the middle of the summer. It's out there, you just have to be positioned to grab it the second it opens up. So supply is thin and getting thinner. The next question is how buyers are responding, and that's where pending sales gets really interesting. Pending sales are where an offer got accepted and the property went into escrow. This is the demand signal for the market because it doesn't just tell us how buyers feel, it tells us what they're doing with the real options in front of them. And June's answer is loud.
My interest is peaked.
Detached pending sales came in at 1,316, up 4.6% year over year. Attached pendings came in at 764, up 13.7%. Both sides positive, and the attached number is strong. Now let's zoom out across 2026 with the single exception of detached homes in January. Every month this year has posted positive pending growth on both sides of the detached and the attached market. Think about what that means. Between last year and this year, despite rates staying high, despite a war overseas, despite economic uncertainty, despite an affordability wall, more buyers are choosing to buy in San Diego this year than last year. Demand isn't retreating, it's growing. And here's the tension that makes June so telling. We only added 1,780 new detached listings and 1,300 of them went pending. That's a 74% absorption rate. Nearly 3 out of every 4 new detached listings got scooped up. Buyers didn't have more choices this June. They had fewer and they still are moving forward. So the demand is real and it's rising. The next question is how many of those deals crossed the finish line, which brings us to closed sales. Detached closed sales came in at 1,434, up 10.9% year over year. That's the strongest detached closing month we've seen in the last 12 months. Attached closings hit 731, up 6.7, both up and both up solidly. Now zooming out to the year, and the story holds. Year-to-date closed sales countywide are up 2.8% over last year. So when someone tells you sales are collapsing in San Diego, the data says opposite. More deals are closing this year, not fewer. This is not a demand problem, it has yet to be one. That brings us to the one everybody watches, the median sales price. Median sales price is the midpoint of all sales. Half the homes sold above this number, half the homes sold below it. And June gave us the first break in the pattern. For roughly the last 12 months, the detached median bounced inside a tight band between 1 million and 1.1 million, and it would not push through the top of it. In June, it finally did. Detached closed at 1,125,000, up 5.1% year over year. That's the ceiling breaking, and it's about $55,000 more than the typical detached home 1 year ago. The attached side tells a more calm story. The condo and townhome median came in at 670,000, up 1.1%, sitting right in the middle of $650,000 and $680,000, which it's been oscillating in for about a year. Now, here's the piece worth naming. Even though the attached side has carried more inventory growth, the supply hasn't been heavy enough to overwhelm the buyer pool. So attached prices are holding their range instead of cracking. Now, to be clear, that's the market as a whole. It doesn't mean no individual condo is taking loss. It means that the attached median as a total is holding steady. Real quick, one honest caveat when it comes to median price. When the supply is thin, the mix of what sells will nudge that median price around from month to month. So I read this number more so as direction and not gospel. The direction here is firm to higher, exactly what you'd expect when supply is this tight and buyers are still competing. Now let's check on days on market. This is the metric we follow most closely to read which direction the market is heading. Days on market is the average number of days between when a home is listed and when an offer gets accepted. Here's how to read it. When the number climbs, the market is slowing down. When the number drops, the market is heating up and leaning towards a seller's market. And in June, this metric splits the market into two. Detached homes sold in an average of 32 days, down 3% year over year. That's the second straight month detached time has come down faster than last year. Detached homes are moving quicker in 2026 than they did in 2025, which lines up with everything we've seen about vanishing supply. Attached homes told the opposite story, sitting at 43 days, up 10.3% year over year. So read the leverage here. On the detached side, faster home sales plus shrinking inventory means the seller holds the cards and buyers need to be ready to move decisively. On the attached side, longer market time and 4 months of supply means condo and townhome buyers have a little more negotiating room. That's the clearest detached versus attached split in the whole report. And it tells you the two markets are moving in different directions for now. All right, now let's zoom out and hit the total market overview. This is the combined attached plus detached picture, the county-wide scoreboard for everything that we walked through today. In June, we had 3,075 new listings hit the market county-wide, down almost 14% year over year. And at the same time, 2,080 homes went pending, up 7.8%. And 2,165 homes closed, up almost 10%. So fewer homes came to the market, yet more went under contract and more closed. That's the supply-demand mismatch in one line. On price, the blended county-wide median landed at $950,000, up 4.4% year over year, and the sellers pulled in 98.6% of the original list price on average. Homes took 36 days to sell countywide, and we finished June with 5,877 homes for sale, down 15.3% year over year, with 3 months of supply down almost 20%. Year to date, the pattern is consistent. New listings are down 6.6% for the year, pendings are up 5.4%, and closed sales are up as well at 2.8%. Less supply coming in, more demand getting satisfied. That's June in a pretty simple sentence. So connecting the dots here, every metric in this report points to the same root cause. Supply is starved, especially in the detached side, and demand not only held, it grew. That combination doesn't crash a market, it compresses one, and the crash needs supply to overwhelm demand. And we have the exact opposite of that. The macro backdrop reinforces this. With the Fed holding rates and mortgage rates staying flat through most of June, nothing happened to free up new seller supply or to scare off buyers. So the standoff holds, and in a standoff with a little inventory, prices aren't going to break. They're going to firm up, which is precisely what the detached median price did. Here's what you do with all of this. If you're a buyer, get fully pre-approved and be patient. Right home is out there, but you just have to be ready to move the day it appears. If you're a seller sitting on a well-located detached home, this is a strong window and the data is on your side. So here's my question for you. Detached inventory is down 26%. Prices broke to new highs and buyers keep showing up anyway. How long do you think this squeeze really holds before something finally has to give? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you think this market is going next. And that's a wrap for this week's San Diego Market Matters video. If this video provided value to you, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And if you're thinking about buying or selling here in San Diego, my contact info is in the description below. Feel free to reach out. I'd love the opportunity to work with you to find your next home or to sell the one you have. As always, I'm Karl, your San Diego realtor. I'll see you in the next video.